The powwow is reunion and source of renewal for Indigenous people like Heather Nelson Heckler, who sees AISES playing a similar role for Indigenous professionals in STEM.
I really give my heart and fight for AISES at GM because it helps build the community, build the culture, and it helps everyone keep that connection to that culture, and it helps for GM to see the importance of that as we try to bring more Indigenous into the company.
Heather knows disconnection. Affiliated with Six Nations tribes like the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin, her family's Brothertown Indian tribe gave up its sovereignty in the 1800s in a complicated move to keep its land after forced relocations.
Brothertown is part of the Six Nations, mainly on the East Coast. It was getting packed out on the East Coast. They let's move them west, and they'd move us and they'd send us to Indiana first. And once we got that all developed and our land's going, well then, they needed that land, so let's move them a little farther west, and we ended up in Wisconsin.
Cindy Nelson's father once fought to regain Brothertown recognition. Today, she gets health care at Oneida, her tribe's steadfast ally. Daughter Heather, meanwhile, has her own struggle promoting Indigenous diversity.
You don't meet a lot of people who are as driven as she is. I feel like there's been a lot of obstacles and roadblocks that she's faced and challenges, especially in this DEI work. And she finds a way. One wall goes up, she figures out a way to knock it down or go around it.
My drive with the ERG is I want to see my Indigenous brothers and sisters have a place, have a voice, and be able to do whatever it is that they want to do and know that there's some place for them.
Heather has led General Motors' Indigenous Employee Resource Group for 15 years. At her first AISES conference in 2008, she was assigned to help GM's recruiting contractor.
People aren't naturally stopping to talk to us. So the second one, I started stopping people, like step out in the aisleway and do the engagement directly. Started to maybe start asking the questions like, why aren't you just stopping here to talk to me? It just didn't seem welcoming.
In 2012, the ERG itself took a more active recruiting role at the conference, building relationships.
That was the thing that really started to turn the corner. So the first year in 2012 was a little bit slower, but by 2015, we had students coming back looking for us, or their cousins coming back saying, hey, you talked to so-and-so a couple years ago. They told me I should come talk to you because I want to be an engineer. It was great to start to see that shift in people actually looking for us to come back.
One of those students was Brady Black.
She remembered me every single time I'd go to the AISES conference. I'd stop by the booth and she remembered my first name, and that really, to me, that went a long ways, and I really appreciated that.
Black was a college student from the rural Colville Reservation who badly wanted to work at GM, but didn't meet its GPA hiring threshold, even though he was taking a rigorous engineering course load at Stanford University.
I went to the local high school here, and when I went on to college, I struggled a little bit coming from an under-resourced reservation high school, and so my GPA wasn't super high. That made it difficult to land internships and jobs, but I persevered. I saw Heather at all the AISES conferences, and that really inspired me and showed me that GM truly did care about having Indigenous representation at the company, and I knew that that's where I wanted to work. I just kept applying, and after graduate school, I was able to land a career with General Motors.
Heather runs the ERG as a volunteer after her day job as an industrial engineer training new engineers.
There's kind of the technical background of the tools that each of the industrial engineers at our plants use, but she's kind of the subject matter expert that kind of trains all of those engineers on how to use the tools and how to be effective with the tools.
She's very structured, talks about everything that's going on. If there's something that's lacking, she's asking, how do we get it? How do we make it better?
Heather promotes excellence, inclusion, and just showing up to AISES conferences and hands-on STEM Days, where GM is an active sponsor.
I think the biggest thing for me is being able to connect with the students. The passion that they have, the talent that they have, the skills that they have, and trying to help them know that they have the skills to do whatever it is that they want to do. That's the thing that keeps me coming back.
I want to let you know your impact to GM, its employee resource groups, and the company and manufacturing is without a doubt inspirational, not only for the people in manufacturing, but for all our ERG leaders. And I can't be more proud of you. There's nobody more deserving of this award. So congratulations, Heather.
coming back to AISES year over year helps to say, we care about you. Like, how can we help you do that and be successful with whatever it is that you want to do? And that's, for me, like the biggest thing. I want everyone to feel that they can do whatever it is.